The script hits exactly 900 words. Here it is, ready to use. The suffocating reason your inner ear hides an entire ocean trench from you, and in 1942, off the coast of California, it made a U.S. Navy warship fire depth charges at a seafloor that wasn't there. Somewhere beneath the water right now, sound is bouncing off something that doesn't exist. Your own body runs on the exact same trick, and that trick has been swallowing trenches whole for as long as we've had sonar to find them. Here's the part they don't explain in school. Sound doesn't travel through water the way light travels through air. It bounces off density, off pockets of gas, off anything that isn't quite the same as the water around it. Your middle ear has a pocket like that right now, a sealed chamber of air pressed behind your eardrum, built to catch vibration and turn it into meaning. The ocean has billions of them too, and every single one is capable of lying to a machine built to measure the deep. In the winter of 1942, sonar crews patrolling the Pacific started reporting something that shouldn't have been possible. Their instruments showed a solid ocean floor rising up beneath their hulls, sometimes just 300 feet down in water charted at over a mile deep. Ships altered course. Some dropped depth charges on what they thought were surfacing submarines hugging false terrain. The floor retreated at dusk. It rose again by morning. Scientists eventually traced it to something no one had named yet, a living layer, hundreds of feet thick, made of billions of fish and squid whose gas-filled swim bladders reflected sound exactly like solid rock. They called it the deep scattering layer, a phantom seafloor built out of the same air pocket trick sitting behind your own eardrum right now. But here's where it stops being about fish. Because the same masking effect that hid a fake floor from the Navy also hides real ones, and not just from ships passing overhead. In the Puerto Rico Trench, one of the deepest scars in the Atlantic, survey teams have logged readings that contradict each other by hundreds of meters, on the same coordinates, months apart. For a while, cartographers assumed instrument error. Then deep-sea mapping in the Pacific found the same pattern near the Mariana System, depths that seemed to shift, edges that blurred, a trench that measured different on different days, as if the ocean floor itself refused to hold still. It isn't holding still. Turbidity currents, underwater landslides, sometimes triggered by nothing more than a shift in sediment saturation, can bury a trench's true edge under hundreds of feet of debris in a matter of hours. A gorge that took millions of years of tectonic grinding to open can vanish from the sonar record overnight, sealed under its own collapsed walls, waiting. This is where it gets personal again. That same scattering effect that hides trenches from sonar also hides pressure changes from your own body, until it doesn't. Your middle ear, the one running the same air pocket physics as every fish bladder in the deep scattering layer, is built for surface pressure. It has almost no tolerance for what waits in a trench. Past about 30 feet, the pressure difference alone can rupture an eardrum in seconds. Past a few hundred, it isn't survivable equipment failure, it's structural failure of you. Now scale that up to the trench itself. The Puerto Rico Trench plunges to roughly 27,500 feet, deep enough to swallow Everest with over a mile to spare. At that depth, pressure exceeds 8 tons per square inch. Steel implodes there the way an eardrum ruptures in a swimming pool, just with more force and less warning. And because sediment slides can bury the true trench floor under new material, some of the deepest readings ever logged there have later been found to measure a false bottom, a temporary seal sitting on top of a scar that's actually hundreds of feet deeper, and still open somewhere underneath. In 2018, researchers using autonomous submersibles near a known trench system picked up a reading that matched almost nothing on record, a depth spike, then a sudden retreat to a shallower floor in the same location within the same week. No landslide was confirmed, no storm, just a trench that appeared to close, then reopen the way a throat tightens and releases, some blamed instrument drift. Others weren't so sure, because the readings echoed 1942 almost exactly, a floor rising where the charts said there should be none, then vanishing again like it had never been there. If a trench can hide its true depth behind a wall of sediment, and your own body can't survive the depth it's hiding, then every chart of the ocean floor is really just a guess dressed up as a fact, a best estimate standing on top of something we haven't actually seen yet. The scattering layer that fooled a warship in 1942 hasn't gone anywhere. It still sits over every trench on Earth, doing the same job it's always done, reflecting exactly enough to convince an instrument it found the bottom, when the real bottom is somewhere else entirely, still falling. So what's actually down there, underneath the layer that keeps closing over it every time we get close enough to look? The hook opens on the ear pressure body tie. The WWII deep scattering layer discovery carries the open loop and first revelation. The 1942 sonar ghost detail gets a callback right before the final reveal, and it closes on a fresh unanswered question rather than resolving. Let me know if you want this adapted for a different word count or a specific narrator voice.